some new numbers on inflation. This is the Fed's go-to inflation metric, and we really got good news on that front. Month over month, prices were up just barely 0.1%, at an annual rate 2.1%. That is a 7-month low, and it's basically right where the Fed wants it, right? Normally they want that 2%, they're just above that. Normally I think you'd have some celebrations at the Federal Reserve. I don't think we're going to have that today because, of course, there's still so much coming as far as tariffs, and a lot of economists do believe that this is still the calm before the storm, that we will eventually see tariff-driven price hikes. Not totally seeing it yet, but it is the expectation to come.
They're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years, really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due? Income really shooting up.
Rick,
I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from, Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. Yeah, I'll tell you that the income numbers, some of the other numbers like current account, see how they fared. Because I don't know, I've been watching these numbers a long time. I don't think I've ever seen the trade deficit cut in half in 1 month.
Not bad. Right? Not bad.
Come on, guys. Boy, 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 boy. So once again, we got to talk about the mainstream liberal media being wrong on the economy when it comes to this idea that, hey, we're going to see this massive economic collapse, inflation, hyperinflation as a result of President Trump's tariffs, okay, and the trade negotiations that we're currently engaged in with other countries, okay, because the PCE report just came out today. This is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, basically showing that inflation is still declining. As I told you guys from the beginning of all this, I was very skeptical of this narrative that these tariffs were going to cause massive hyperinflation, price increases across the board, which is, again, what the mainstream liberal media claimed. And I was skeptical because it just never really made sense to me, to be honest, from the beginning, okay, in the sense that you just can't arbitrarily increase prices as a result of tariffs. That's not how economics works. That's not how all markets work. And in fact, what we're seeing is that inflation is continuing to decline despite the tariffs. Now, this report, one of the main numbers that I really like is the fact that personal income rose by 0.8%. So wages are going up while inflation is going down, which is good, right? Because before we had wage inflation contributing to inflation, which means that, yes, wages would go up, but they would go up at a lower rate than inflation, okay? Which means that real incomes were actually going down. But now, again, under President Trump, you have personal income, again, going up, and inflation is still heading down. The savings rate also climbed to 4.9%, the highest level in over a year. So you have people saving more money, which is a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing for people to save money, okay? People don't need to be spending all their money on stuff that they don't need, right? Junk from China, okay? Turns out that it's not terrible for the U.S. economy to not spend money on junk from China and to save, right? Which is something that I encourage people to do. Save and invest, okay? Also, we had a major reduction in the trade deficit, right? The goods trade deficit contracted by 46% in April, decreasing from a record of $162.3 billion in March to $87.6 billion, which is going to contribute very positively to the next GDP report, which is part of the reason why you have the Atlanta Fed now coming out here and predicting that GDP growth for the second quarter to rise to 3.8% from 2.2%. Now, remember, these people were telling us that there's going to be a massive recession, right? Massive recession, okay? Everything is going to be terrible. And now they're all taking that back, right? They're all now coming back and saying, hey, those recession predictions that we were putting out there, kind of wrong, right? We're kind of wrong. So anyways, I want to play this clip from CNBC, Rick Santelli, going over these numbers. Because, again, the mainstream liberal media, they're shocked that their predictions, at least as of right now, have turned out to not be true. Take a look.
Kelly standing by. Got some important numbers. Is at the CME in Chicago. Rick, they should be hitting any second, right now, in fact.
Yes, they're hitting the wires as we speak. These are, of course, personal income and spending for the month of April. We're also getting inventories, which are hitting the wire first. Wholesale inventories unchanged. We're expecting up 0.4. Retail inventories come in as expected, down 0.1%. And personal income is up 0.8, up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations, and it underscores, we could talk about a lot of issues, but when you look at income for the first 4 months of the year, they're powerful numbers, Joe. Up 0.6 in January, up 0.7 in February, up 0.5% last month, up 0.8 this month. This is a great 4-month start to any year. Now, with the income shooting up, and by the way, 0.8 is the strongest income month-over-month jump since May of 21, when it was 1.9. If we look at spending, comes in exactly as expected, up 0.2. This follows an up 0.7 number, which was the best since December of last year. Now let's look at real spending adjusted for inflation. Comes in a little better at 1.10, but well below last month's up 0.7, which was the best since January of 23. If we look at the inflation numbers, and here we go, on a month-over-month basis for PCE, up 0.1 as expected. On a year-over-year PCE, up 2.1. That's 0.1 lighter than we were expecting. 2.1 equals SEPA 24. To find a lower one, you're back to February of 21. Now let's look at the core numbers on a month-over-month basis, up 0.1, exactly as expected. And if we look at a year-over-year perspective, 2.5 exactly as expected. A tenth lower than 2.6 last month, which then was revised to 2.7, which makes us down 0.2%. 2.5, well, the last time we were here, if I have to go back, wow, it's been a while since 2.5. I would say that you're going back to the spring of 21. Now, we talked about inventories. The last number is, of course, a very important number to this administration. This is the trade balance, which is a deficit, expecting minus $143 billion. Wow, it comes in much, much smaller, minus $87 billion. And now this follows a 163 that gets converted to 162 billion with a minus sign, the worst since record-keeping 1989. Then we cut it in half to 87.6. 87.6 would be the lightest, and I have to really go back. 87.6 would be the lightest since... wow, September of 23, SEP of 23. And this really does underscore how the movement of goods and services has really changed due to a variety of tariff-related issues.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. I want you guys to understand. We've had three government inflation reports, okay, over the last month, showing us that, yeah, the media has been very, very, very wrong about the impact of these tariffs on the economy and prices, right? We're not seeing the hyperinflation, okay? We had the CPI basically showing us that, yeah, inflation is declining. We had the producer price index, which showed us that wholesale prices, right, the actual prices of goods that businesses are paying, right, the wholesale prices are declining. And now we have the personal consumption index. This measure right here is showing us that inflation is declining, right? So again, all of these reports are essentially showing us that the mainstream liberal media was wrong, okay? We have incomes going up, trade deficits going down, inflation going down, savings going up. And you would think that the mainstream liberal media would be celebrating these economic numbers that, let's be real, if Biden was in office, or if Kamala was in office, if Democrats were in office, and these were the numbers, right? Yeah, they would be saying, no, the economy is amazing, right? Like everything is great right now, okay? It turns out that, you know, lowering the price of energy, right? Lowering the price of oil actually has a big effect on the price of things, right? Which is what President Trump said from day one. He's like, yeah, we're bringing down the cost of energy. Okay, we're bringing down oil prices. We've seen oil prices decline. And again, I think that's part of the reason why you're not seeing the inflationary effects that, again, the mainstream liberal media swears up and down comes from the tariffs, okay? Which, again, we have not seen yet, okay? Despite everybody saying that it's going to happen. But who knows? Next month, right? Maybe they'll try again next month. We will see. Because I got to be honest with you guys, I still think there's going to be a lot of volatility when it comes to these tariffs. And part of the reason why is because you have the bond vigilantes, and this is what I'm calling them, the Wall Streeters, who are manipulating yields in the bond market in order to protest against President Trump and his trade policies. You also have woke judges trying to pause President Trump's tariffs, right, in which that was overturned by the Federal Appeals Court, right? So he's allowed to continue the tariffs for now. So we're going to see what happens with that. That's going to go up to the Supreme Court probably. And then on top of that, President Trump came out and announced that China, apparently they are violating their tariff truce, right? So who knows? Okay, maybe we could have more tariffs against China in the future. So I'm just saying it's not over yet. And we'll see. Regardless, the hate for the mainstream liberal media never stops. Okay, they're essentially now trying to attack President Trump and Elon Musk because Elon Musk is leaving. Now, Elon Musk has to leave the administration in his official government position because he can only be there for so long, right? I mean, everybody knew this when he first got into that position, and now he's taking a farewell and he's focusing on his companies, which, you know, I think overall is a good thing. The legacy of Doge is still alive. And that is what they celebrated in the White House, again, as the mainstream liberal media tries to divide President Trump and Elon Musk. Take a look.
And we'll remember you as we announce billions of dollars of extra waste, fraud, and abuse. Just as an example, Doge canceled $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education, $101 million, and that was just in a small section of the Department of Education. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City, and the landlord never made the kind of money that he made in the last short period of time. $59 million to a hotel in New York City, $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. In Burma, does anyone know about Burma? $42 million for social and behavioral change in Uganda. The country knows that, and they appreciate it, and they really appreciate what he did. And I gave him a little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. This is a lot. The luck of this is amazing.
Thank you, President Trump. The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room were the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer. My Pulitzer counter.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, what is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so.
What does that mean?
I didn't notice it.
First Lady of France.
I didn't notice.
I was just walking around with little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X, you
I
could
saw
do
his mom
it.
right now. But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I just watched around with the kids.
I didn't notice it, actually.
Yeah, see, seeing that, you heard that. Okay, now, in regards to the legacy of Doge, how far Doge goes basically just depends on Republicans at this point, right? Are Republicans actually going to try to codify some of these cuts from Doge into the budget, right? Are they going to make it permanent, or are they going to fold, right? We're going to see what the Republicans do moving forward into the future, because I think when Elon comes out and talks about his kind of dissatisfaction with the government, it's not necessarily a criticism of President Trump per se. I think it's really a criticism of the Republican Party and the fact that you have Republicans that aren't really serious about cutting the budget or trying to reduce the deficit or debt. They'll give a lot of lip service to it, right? But they're not actually really serious about it. And the reluctancy from the Republicans to codify these cuts into law kind of tells you exactly what you need to know about how serious some Republicans are about enshrining these cuts, right? So they'll come out here and they'll celebrate it and they'll say, oh, this is great, this is awesome. But, you know, hey, whether or not they actually really do it and they make it permanent, that will show you what they really believe. So I am personally hoping that these cuts get codified, right? That is the way to make sure that the legacy of Doge lives on into the future. So now we got to talk about the mainstream liberal media and the Democrat Party and their reaction to Elon Musk leaving, because essentially Democrats have made Elon Musk public enemy number 2. And they're basically saying that if they win back the House in the midterms, that they're going to make the next 2 years after the midterms about launching a witch hunt against Elon Musk and maybe even some criminal referrals, right, against Elon, right? They are openly talking about trying to jail Elon Musk over his work at Doge. Take a look.
Elon Musk's exit. He is leaving Washington. But I think that Elon Musk is just finished. I have not heard a lot of Democratic elected officials talk about the data. Elon Musk and his Doge peeps, if you will, they installed servers within the White House complex. They were integral within the Office of Presidential Personnel, which has tentacles out into every single agency. They have inroads into every single agency now. Doge was in there.
And he didn't take those servers with him.
The servers, I don't think, have left the White House. And so what are Democrats going to do about the data? Are you all going to follow up on this? What's your take on Elon Musk's being done? Because I just think he's finished. He's just finished what he was doing. Actually, he's finished. He's not done because they still got the data.
Yeah, I heard he's on some image repair tour. I think the best way for him to repair his image is to reverse all the damage he did to our government, to the American people. And yeah, those servers are a big issue. We want to continue to investigate that. And certainly, I think some crimes may have been committed over the past 3 or 4 months, and they are going to come to light. One way or another, we're going to come to light, even if it takes us getting into power again. But we will subpoena people and find out.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that. Okay, once again, Democrats showed us how unserious they are as a party, right? Why is it that nobody takes them seriously anymore? Because they have nothing except Trump derangement to offer to the American people, right? Nothing at all, right? So they want to take back the House, not to help the American people, not to work with the Trump administration in ways that are beneficial to the American people, but to launch a witch hunt against Elon Musk, Doge, and his associates, right? That's what they want to do, okay? And it really is a damn shame that this is what the Democrat Party has become. But hey, this is part of the reason why they're losing. Okay, this is why I think that it is a bad idea for Democrats to continue down this route of hating Trump no matter what going into the midterms, because I don't think this is going to be the rallying cry that they need in order to win. I mean, they already essentially are not going to win the Senate, right? It's damn near impossible for them to win the Senate. Their best hope is to maybe take back the House, right, by a narrow margin. And again, if this is the strategy, right, just hating Trump, hate Elon Musk, I just don't think that it's going to work out, okay? Look at the numbers that we're seeing on the economy, right? Look at what President Trump has accomplished with the border, okay, with the mass deportations. Everything hasn't been done perfectly, but President Trump has exceeded my expectations, and I'm excited to see what happens over the next year or so, okay, going into the midterms. And we're going to see, right? We're going to see exactly how all of this kind of shapes out. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.